Hi, I'm Mr. Sudol, and I am the elementary principal at Bertha Godfrey and Bryant Elementary. At Bertha Godfrey, we have kindergarten, we have kindergarten prep, we have 4-year-old preschool, we have 3-year-old preschool. And so this meeting is for kindergarten and kindergarten prep parents. So I'm going to introduce you to our kindergarten teachers, Mrs. Stecker, Mrs. Depew, Mrs. Weta, Mrs. Shillington, Mrs. Welp. Mrs. Goodman is our kindergarten prep teacher. Mrs. Throne is our at-risk teacher that works with kindergartners in the afternoon. Mrs. Lane is our special education teacher that works with kindergarten and prep in the afternoon as well, too. I'm going to have you put a name with a face here. This is Mrs. Depew, kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Stecker, a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Weta, a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Shillington, a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Welp, a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Lane, a kindergarten special ed teacher. Mrs. Throne is our kindergarten at-risk teacher in the afternoon. And Mrs. Goodman is our kindergarten prep teacher. As you can see on this slide right here, we focus on in reading with our CKLA new curriculum this year, core knowledge, language arts. And with that, we focus on the Iowa core standards and foundational skills that are already built into it, print concepts, the phonological awareness, phonics, some word recognition, and fluency as well, along with writing. In math, we use our illustrative math curriculum, which also has the Common Core standards built into it with the Iowa core standards. We focus on identifying numbers 0 to 20 in kindergarten, writing numbers 0 to 20, measurement, shape identification, along with counting to 100 by ones and tens, graphing, patterning, addition to 5, and subtraction to 5. In science, we built in a lot of our science and social studies into our CKLA curriculum. So in our CKLA knowledge portion of our reading, we cover the 5 senses, plants, weather and season, and taking care of the earth. In social studies and CKLA knowledge, we cover Native Americans, kings and queens, Columbus and pilgrims, the colonial towns and townspeople, president, and American symbols. We also have what's called STEAM as a special, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And in that content that's covered, we have 5 senses, creative thinking and problem solving, coding and robotics, and pushes and pulls. In health, we cover safety, food groups, healthy choices, dental health, being active, hearts and bones, and emotional health. One of the things that we do in kindergarten is we have what's called the Bulldog Challenge. And with the Bulldog Challenge, we focus on RISE, respect, integrity, students first, and excellence. And we focus on that throughout the school year. We take 1 letter each quarter. So for example, the first quarter, we cover R with respect. And every 2 weeks, a kid is recognized in the classroom. And then every month we take a student to Peach Ranch for those kids that are recognized for exhibiting those things with respect, integrity, students first, and excellence. We give the FAST assessment, which is a formative assessment system for teachers. And we give that 3 times a year. And that is in reading and in math. It's a standardized test. In reading, as you can see on this slide, it focuses on letter names and sounds, concepts of print, beginning sounds, word segmenting, nonsense words, and sight words. In math, we match quantity, decomposing, number identification, and number sequence. It's given in the fall, and the winter, and the spring each year. In kindergarten prep, you need to be 5 years old on or before September 15th with immunizations. Develop maturity, we will focus on, and it does not replace kindergarten. And I have Mrs. Goodman that'll talk to you here in a second on that. In kindergarten prep, what we look at is the preschool staff will be meeting with you during your conference, 4-year-old preschool conference, and talking about what our recommendation would be for kindergarten or kindergarten prep. Parents may request that their child be considered for prep, but does not guarantee them a spot. All right, I'm going to have Mrs. Goodman step in here and talk about some kindergarten prep things.
Hi, I'm Diane Goodman, and I teach the kindergarten prep program. And as Mr. Sudol said, you have to be 5 by September 15th, the same as in kindergarten. Many times the birth dates are the late spring and summer, but in the past years, I have had as early as February, March, even some January birthdays. This has been increasing just because it depends on the child, and each child is unique with their needs. If you might be wondering, what do we do in kindergarten prep? We never strive for perfection, but as an introduction to get them ready for the next step, which is kindergarten. At the beginning of the year, we just work into getting into a new routine. We have more of a structured setting than they did in preschool. Academics, though, are not the only reason that you might want to consider your child for prep. For prep, we also look at fine motor skills, and their attention span can play a crucial role in this decision. The biggie, of course, is the attention span. We begin our activities with about 10 minutes of activities, and by the end of the year, we have worked up to about 30 minutes or more. I am very fortunate to have additional help in my room. So how our room is set up is we have 4 centers. 3 are usually teacher directed, and 1 is we have what's called the independent one, which helps the kids work on problem solving with their peers. But of course, teachers are always right there to lend a hand if needed. We work on writing their names. Usually when they come to prep, they have learned how to write them all in uppercase letters. We change that and start working to write them in uppercase and the lowercase letters, recognizing their first and last names. We also work on the sounds with the uppercase and lowercase letters. In numbers, we begin with working from 0 to 10, counting, writing them. We introduce what's called 10 frames, which they work on in kindergarten and very other number sense activities. We work on tally marks as the years go on. As a year goes on, we also look at the numbers 0 through 20, and we practice writing to 100. For counting, we try to count by 5s and 10s, and it's fun to see by this time of the year, they really are getting the 10s for sure. We do simple addition and subtraction. In reading, we practice sight words. We talk about what makes a sentence, capital letters, punctuation. We work on patterning, shapes, opposite, rhyming, and of course, a lot with the fine motor skills. When it comes to specials, we have media once in the 6-day cycle. And in our classroom itself is when we do music and physical education activities. As for transportation and class times, we meet Monday through Friday. So we meet all 5 days. The morning class runs just like it has in preschool from 8:30 to 11:15, and the afternoon class is from 12:30 to 3:15. The busing and the transportation situation is the same as it is in preschool. We do have the busing situation like we do. We offer that service at 11:15, and then again to bring the children to school at 12:30. Each child will get, what is this, like a binder, and in the binder, they will have a place, a pencil case, which we put notes in. We have a calendar, we have the snack list and everything. This goes back and forth every day with the child, and I can't stress how important it is to look at that and see what's all in there. I have taught prep for over 25 years, and I truly, truly believe that you must think past this coming year and look into the future when your child is ready to graduate. Do you want to send your child to college when they're just turning 18? 1 year maturity can make such a big difference in their little lives. We cannot give them a little pill that will make them grow up and ready to handle what faces them in life. The best gift is the gift of time. You know your child better than anyone else. Please follow your heart and give your child the time they need to grow, because we do know that your child does grow up very fast. Enjoy that time that you have with them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Goodman. As you can see on this slide here, kindergarten prep is designed to make the most of your child's strengths while giving them those weaker areas time to bloom. We cannot accommodate all children in K prep, but we want to ensure those that need it are there and need it or help them the most, because a lot of times it's just developmentally, it's what's appropriate for them. How to prepare your child for kindergarten. Is able to put on and tie shoes, zip and button coat, use the bathroom independently, those life skills, write their first name independently, familiar with colors and shapes, share with others and wait his or her turn, familiar with letters and numbers, follow 1- and 2-step directions, have responsibilities at home, like making bed, putting away laundry, picking up their toys. Allow your child to make mistakes. I think that's one thing we got to remember, is that that's how we learn, is by making mistakes, and those mistakes help us learn each time we make them. Experiences away from mom and dad, exposures to books. I think it's a very important to read to your child daily. So I think setting time aside at night, maybe before bed or whatever works best with your schedule, trying to pick that 15 to 20 minutes to reading to your child is so very important. And now I have Mrs. Bustrom here, who's going to talk to you about the things to prepare you for kindergarten with the health updates.
Hi, I'm Josie Bustrom, one of the school nurses. I want to encourage you to call community health or the clinic to reach out to get immunizations up to date before kindergarten. There are requirements. If you're not certain where to go, call either the clinic or community health and we can help direct you. That those offices do get quite busy in August, so sooner the better. Next is going over the dental certificates. So if your child sees the dentist this summer, there's a certificate that can be filled out. We as nurses do screenings throughout the year, but we do just a good enough job. So sometimes it's hard for us to tell whether it's Oreo or if it's tooth decay. So seeing a professional is highly recommended, along with a vision screening. We'll do that as well if your child has not seen the eye doctor. Throughout the summer, though, the eye doctors here in town do offer a $10 visit, so that's encouraged. We'll test their distance, but we don't check for reading or a lazy eye or any other concerns. So encourage you to see the eye doctor. If your student has any special concerns, I would like to visit with you, whether it's seizures, diabetic, severe allergies, make an appointment to set up so we can chat about your child so we can better serve them here at school. Also, flu shots, we do come in the fall and can give the child flu shots if that's what you choose. We send those forms out. So if that's an interest to you. Also, breakfast, we highly encourage eating, even if the child is not a breakfast eater. Coming to school with their stomach full just helps them get energy to their brain to help them better learn. So definitely encourage your children to eat breakfast. And then going over when to stay home. So if your child has been sick, they can come back to school with fever-free for 24 hours without the use of Tylenol or ibuprofen, and 24 hours free of vomiting or diarrhea. So we just want to keep everybody healthy. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Bustrom. As you can see in this next slide here, it's kind of a nice little visual there of when to keep them home. Temperatures of 100 or higher. The vomiting within 24 hours is before they can come back to school. Diarrhea, head lice, if they've been in the hospital, those type of things are on here listed on this slide, as you can see when they should come back. Bertha Godfrey Elementary has a Facebook page, and on this Facebook page, we will post items that are happening around the building, announcements, and all other important information. So if you go to Facebook and you have Facebook, like the Facebook page and you'll see those things on there. Also on the school website, as you can see, I did copy this slide that's on here, and it has the requirements for children starting kindergarten and kindergarten prep. So if you go to our website, it'll have all those links that you need for the requirements for entering school. And some of those links are on there that you'll need to print off to have signed by the doctor as well when you go through and do that. Also, there's a school app. And on that school app, it's the best way to receive notifications from the school for cancellations and other items to have on the school app on your phone. When you're on the school website, scroll down to the bottom right and click on the button to see the app. You will want to select notifications from the building your child attends. If you need assistance, please stop in the school offices and anyone can assist you on that. Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus is a way that we collect information for attendance. It is also school lunch account information. It is also where we put in grades. So it's kind of our student information system. You can register for school on this by going into your parent portal If you're unsure how to register using the parent portal, please stop at Central Administration and they can assist you. The address is 600 South Hale Street. I want to thank everyone for attending today, and that concludes the presentation. And so if you have any questions, please stop by or please call Bertha Godfrey Elementary and we can assist you with anything you need there. Have a great day.